Hey guys, okay, official week 6 video. Sorry yesterday was crazy, so I couldn't make my video in time, but I did post my start sit sleepers and my parlay. Good news about my parlay and bad news. The bad news is I had the Giants +2. The good news is I was so crazy yesterday that I didn't even have time to put the bet in before the game started. So, yay me! So originally yesterday when I couldn't post my video and I just posted kind of like my little PowerPoint presentation of my start sits and sleepers, I didn't get to include my reasoning behind them. So I figured since it's only Friday and we still have all day Sunday and Sunday night and Monday night that I would go through my reasoning behind all of my picks in case you're like, why did she say to sit this person? So here we go. Okay, so beginning with my starts at quarterback, I had Kirk Cousins versus Arizona, Matt Ryan versus Tampa Bay, and Jameis Winston at Atlanta. So Kirk Cousins versus Arizona, I feel like he's just going to be throwing the ball a lot. I know Dalvin Cook is back. I think I got the notification on my fantasy app that he was back, but I'm not expecting him to be at 100%. So I do think Kirk Cousins will be throwing the ball quite a bit. I have Matt Ryan versus Tampa Bay and also Jameis Winston at Atlanta. Both of those defenses are subpar, so I feel like it's just going to be offensive points all day. The Buccaneers have allowed 13 touchdowns and only 1 interception in their last 4 games, so that's looking good for Matt Ryan. And for Jameis Winston, like I said, I think he'll be chasing points most of the time, and Atlanta's defense is not strong anyway, so there's really a potential to throw down the field and score a lot of points in that game. My first sit at quarterback for week 6 is Phillip Rivers at Cleveland. Cleveland's defense is actually doing pretty well, and the Browns have only allowed an average of 8 fantasy points per game to opposing quarterbacks at home. So Cleveland is definitely proving to be a tough place to play. I think you should sit Big Ben at Cincinnati. This year he has not been good on the road. The Bengals defense is also holding quarterbacks to less than 13 fantasy points per game. So both Phillip Rivers and Big Ben away. I do not like those road matchups. And my third sit was Eli Manning versus Philly, and you saw why last night. Eli is my sleeper at quarterback for week 6, and it could just be because I'm holding on to hope for my Broncos, but I do have Case Keenum as my sleeper against the LA Rams. So yes, the Rams have had a strong defense. However, they've given up 8 touchdowns with no interceptions in their last 3 games. Also, while Case Keenum is not elite by any means, he has been playing well in the 4th quarter. I do think that the Rams offense is going to come out explosive and that Denver will be chasing points most of the game, especially since we gave up 323 rushing yards to the Jets and now we're playing Todd Gurley. So that should be interesting. As far as my starting running backs for week 6, the first 2 are actually in a matchup against each other in London, so that's going to be the Oakland-Seattle game. I think you should definitely start Marshawn Lynch. I feel like he has everything to prove to the Seahawks ever since that very poor decision. And the Seahawks, actually both the Seahawks and the Raiders, have allowed a running back to either score or gain 100 yards in the last 4 out of 5 games. So kind of interesting that they both have that same stat. Bottom line, I feel like it's going to be a running game in London. My last start is going to be Sony Michel versus the Chiefs. I feel like his role with the Patriots is just continuing to get bigger. They're starting to rely on him, trust him a little bit more. Again, the KC defense is subpar, and I'm expecting a close, high-scoring game in that one Sunday night, Patriots-Chiefs. I don't know who I want to win, though, because I don't like either of them. So, go Broncos! My first sit at running back is going to be LaShawn McCoy at Houston. Bills' offense is questionable at best, and Houston has actually only allowed 1 rushing touchdown all season, so I wouldn't keep your hopes up for that one. Also, I think you should sit Lamar Miller versus Buffalo. He's coming off of a chest injury, and those carries are likely to be split between him and Alfred Blue, so you're counting on half the carries, so probably half the points. And also, the Bills have only allowed double-digit fantasy points to 1 running back all season. Last, I think you should sit Kenyon Drake versus Chicago. Frank Gore had double the amount of carries that he did last week, and only 1 running back has scored against the Chicago Bears, and that was David Johnson on a reception. So again, all those defenses that I'm having you sit these running backs against are defenses who are not allowing rushing touchdowns. My 2 sleepers at running back this week, if you didn't see my post yesterday, was Alfred Morris at Green Bay. Matt Breida's injured, so Alfred Morris is going to be getting that starting spot, and I just think that while the Niners will be chasing points, I don't think they're going to be throwing the ball as much. And I had Latavius Murray versus Arizona as my sleeper before I got the notification that Dalvin Cook was going to be back. But like I said, I still don't think Dalvin Cook is going to be at 100%, so there's still a chance for Latavius Murray to get some touches, maybe red zone touches, maybe a touchdown. Who knows? That's why he's a sleeper. We don't know. All right, and finally, wide receivers. So my first start that I have is Tyler Boyd versus Pittsburgh. I did have him as a starter last week. It didn't work out, but I'm going to roll with him again this week as a starter because Pittsburgh has allowed 100-yard games to 10 receivers so far this season. So I'm going to say Tyler Boyd as my first start. My second start at wide receiver is going to be Emmanuel Sanders. I really feel like Case Keenum favors him over Demaryius Thomas, maybe because he actually catches the ball most of the time. And like I said, I hope that the Broncos aren't down to the Rams, but in the event that we are, which is likely, I do think Case Keenum will be looking downfield trying to get those big plays, so hopefully it's to Emmanuel Sanders. And my last start at wide receiver is going to be Deshaun Jackson, kind of rolling with the whole Jameis Winston theme here. If the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are down to the Atlanta Falcons, which I think they will be, I do think that Jameis Winston will be looking down the field for his receivers, so I think Deshaun Jackson could have a really big game. Also, if he ends up doing any returns, anything like that. So Tyler Boyd, Emmanuel Sanders, Deshaun Jackson, 3 starts at wide receiver for week 6. Most of the time I delete bloopers like that, but just felt like leaving that one in there today. Okay, my 3 sits that I had for you at wide receiver for week 6. First one was Allen Robinson at Miami. He has struggled the last 3 games, and only 3 receivers have scored against Miami so far through week 5. My second sit is Corey Davis versus Baltimore. Ravens corner Jimmy Smith is back off of a 4-game suspension, so that secondary is going to be better than it has been. I'm going to go ahead and say sit Corey Davis versus Baltimore. And my last sit is going to be Kenny Stills versus Chicago. Not necessarily because of his ability, but Ryan Tannehill is one of the worst quarterbacks under pressure. And who's he playing? The Chicago Bears and Khalil Mack. That pass rush is going to be all over him. He is not going to have time to look down the field for Kenny Stills. Leave Kenny on the bench. I've got 2 sleepers at wide receiver for you. The first one, I just like his name, Kiki Kuti versus the Bills. So actually this season, the Bills have done well covering number 1 receivers. However, number 2 and 3 receivers have actually been playing very well against Buffalo. Kiki Kuti's overall volume has been increasing over the last 2-3 weeks, so I do think he has potential to score some points in week 6. My second sleeper is going to be Chester Rogers at the New York Jets. T.Y. Hilton might be out, and right now Chester is averaging 16 PPR points per game over the last 2 games. So again, potential there. And my parlay, which I accidentally saved myself on. So I had the Giants +2, but I didn't get it in time. So here's the rest of my parlay, and I will just have to decide my 8th leg, and I'll let you guys know what it is. So Falcons -3. I took the under 45 in the Chargers-Browns game. I don't think that's going to be a high-scoring game. I took the Panthers +1, the Vikings -10. I took under 52 in the Steelers-Bengals game, the Broncos +6.5. Come on, Denver. And Packers -9.5. So you will have to tune in on Tuesday to find out who my 8th leg of my parlay was and how I did. If I'm sitting here counting money on Tuesday morning, it means I've won. So hopefully that happens. Good luck in your fantasy leagues. Have fun on Sunday. And Sunday night will be a good game. Super excited for that one. Thanks. If you guys aren't following my Instagram page yet, it is Fantasera Football 2018. Also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I've got over 30 subscribers so far. Yay. Thanks, everybody. But I do appreciate it. I appreciate all your support. Likes, comments, shares, suggestions, whatever. I want to hear from you guys. I'm just enjoying doing this, and so I want to know if other people are liking it too. All right? Have a good weekend.